What's up, everybody? I'm Jason. This is Freeburg Garage, and we are working on the FXR-T. As always, behind me, it's from 1988. Well, most of it is. The frame, engine, all that good stuff. But I have other pieces for this bike. As you can see, it's torn apart. We were missing a rear fender, gas tank, fairing, all that good stuff, in order to get this bike on the road for the summer. Now, there are a lot of pieces that have not been finished that I have done videos on and not been able to complete them between family time and work and trying to get this. I allocate my time and all that stuff and cannot finish these projects. These ended so I can get some stuff painted, mounted and all that good stuff so we can get this bike rolling here. So we're gonna actually do like a working vlog garage video. This is where I just kind of go back to some projects that we talked about, finish them up, kind of talk through some ideas, maybe give some insight of what my brain is telling you that I want to go do with this bike, future projects, hopefully. This is kind of a start of some of the video series that will be in between to help finish up projects where I don't have to be pressed for time. I like to do everything on the channel filmed. It seems, I guess maybe unnecessary for some, but for me, that's the whole point of filming this stuff. It's the joy of being able to work on it, film it, and put it out here. And I try to show everything that I do on camera, so it's the most realistic, being able to put this together. All right, so let's get some of this stuff done. Let's dive into it. All right, so here's a little blast from the past. If you've been following along on this build or videos of mine in the past, we did this rim couple months ago, wheeled, and shoot, at least a couple months, spray painted it and cleaned up the rim, got rid of all the nasty marks on it, polished up pretty good. Needs to be a little more buffed out, so that needs to be cleaned up before we finally get this mounted together with the rotor over there, and then of course our wheel pulley. And the wheel pulley I have painted, so it looks great now, nice in the middle. We're gonna clean up the rim. I'm gonna see how this turns out and try to polish this up to see how it looks. It's just part of my OCD. One person that always reminds me about my OCD that I'm not alone is Big Smitty. If you never follow his channel, go check him out. Great guy. I believe we're good friends. Big Smitty, you tell me. We've been on this YouTube journey together for a long time, and go follow him out. Check him out. Funny guy, man. All about his gold wing. Go check out his stuff. All right. Well, we're gonna clean this up in the meantime. Sand that out. See what it does. We're gonna do some air Flumatic on this motor lock by 3M. Medium grit. There's a heavier one, so we're gonna try that first and then hit it with their fine and then try to buff it out from there. To be honest, I think if you have an electric one, it's just way better because it's consistent speeds without losing pressure. But I got a nice 50-gallon air tank, so we should be good for a little bit, at least to do for this. Let's see how it rolls. Well, unfortunately, that wasn't thick enough. We still got some spots in here that do not want to go away. Looks like some gouges up here, so we're gonna hit a little heavier and then see what it does. All right, heavy grit, took care of it. Looks a little rough, but all of the nasty marks are pretty much gone. So pretty happy with it. It's a pretty standard pulley, so not too worried if this doesn't come out perfect. It looks better than what it was. Good there. So now we're gonna go back, hit it with the medium grit that we started off with, and start to smooth this out, make it less abrasive. Bam! Medium grit, just really cleaned it up, got rid of that abrasiveness, took out some of the bigger gouges from the previous grit on there. So really liking that. And if you're trying to do this, I have tried two different styles. This is the heavier grit, but they make the same grit here in these two different brands. This is a Harbor Freight brand. This is a 3M brand. And I was told that the 3M brand is actually better, and I have tested it, and I said, no shit, it really is better. It lasts longer. So if you're going in there, Harbor Freight almost makes them for the same cost. I thought I'll save myself money, but I was blowing through boxes. Use 3M, whatever their formula is, kicks ass for these. So you only have to use like maybe 1 to 2 as compared to maybe 5 of these, no joke. So you blow through these super quick. All right, so we're gonna do a fine grit on this, just like a blue, and then we're gonna do a little more buffing and then get a polish on here. All right, fine grit, killed it, smooth. It's almost there. So now what we're gonna do is get rid of those brush marks that you see going around, the swirl marks. They're almost disappeared, and If it stayed like this, I'd be happy, but it does catch up some finger marks and all that good stuff. And we just want to make sure that it's the best to my abilities. So we'd hit with this. This is just another method I'm trying out here to make things fast to go through this. If you did this all by hand properly, you can make this thing look like a mirror. I'm just trying to get it to just look nice and shiny, buffed out, and enough for, it's a pulley. This thing's gonna get trashed. A lot of brake and grease and grime goes on this thing, and as long as it stays up clean, no one's gonna notice, but in my eyes, this will look good enough. Hard to tell, but another step forward, came out great. So we're gonna use the next style of brush 3M ball here, a finer thread, and then we'll move over to buffing. So. Now, I don't really know if that made a difference. Some spots a little more shinier than others, but looks good. I think we're ready to buff this out. Back to our Flumatic. We're using a buffing compound here, the brown, which is supposed to be like essentially to just polish it up. Then we'll move over to a white. And once that's over there, see how this does. A little gift from Harbor Freight. And let's see how we can try this out. Alright, so starting to clear up a little bit better, using a white now into it. And I think we can start to see some shine here finally, a little mirror finish, so let's hit it. Bam! Look at that! Nice and cleaned up, looks like a brand new pulley. It's funny, put all this work into it and people just rip these off and put a chain drive in. Oh, so I did actually for my other FXR. Love chain drive. So there's all this work just to put in a chain drive. Maybe later down, it's actually been a bit debacle, but it is the tapered shaft, not the spline. So I just really don't want to put that much time and money into doing that. So we're gonna run pulley till that snaps or I get a good deal on a good Dextron case or something there. But there's that. So we're gonna switch over, do something else now. I got some sanding I gotta show you guys. Kind of what my paint project's gonna be coming up for this bike. So let's dive over here. My rear fender for the FXRT is what we're working on next, kind of getting this finished up, ready for paint. It's pretty much there, I'd say about 98%. It is smooth at touch, so this herpy infested look that it has going on, you can't even feel those spots that my hand's running over right now. It is very smooth and filled up. That's where you want to be before we get this nice and painted. But I'm actually gonna hit this with a primer. So normally you probably would hit this primer, filler, sand it, fill, then hit it with your base. But in my case, I went ahead and did body filler first because I didn't realize I was gonna base it, I was just gonna do black, but all that, more to come. So that's what we're doing right now. We have this spot up here. We're gonna smooth out. I had a big old dent, but I actually banged it out, came out great. There's a bit of a ripple effect. It stretches the metal when you make a ding into your metal or any of the body pieces you have that are metal. It stretches it, so when you put it back in place, you're gonna have a slight ripple from the metal being stretched. So I use a little bit of the body filler to help smooth it out. It's just about there. There's a small divot. The eye can't tell, but my hand can feel it. And that was one part that my father's always taught me about doing body work. It's about your hand going across it. Look for edges, feel for edges, and there's some edges that we're gonna clear up on here. And I'll kind of go through the process of what I do to get that cleared up that he's taught me. It's been really helpful on that kind of stuff. And then if you are wondering what a FXRT rear fender difference is, those two holes right there. So if you have an FXRT and you want to make it like an integrated turn signal, clean up that whole big, crossbar turn signal look, and you're not gonna use like the camshells or whatever it is, but you wanna remove it, you're gonna have those two holes. That is a problem that if you go and remove everything, you're gonna have those two holes left. So you have those. Those are your indicator. It's where the mounting piece was for that. Little trivia for you guys for the FXRTs. So let's get the sand in a bit, show you guys what I'm talking about, and let's get done. So sanding this down, a couple tips that I've learned so far. So if you use like a piece of paper like this, save yourself some money. It's kind of a waste because if you're not catching what you're doing, taking two fingers or your hand, you are going into certain highs and lows right up against the metal where you're at, especially if there's like a curve like that, or you're going digging down. Where your fingers are pressing, one's gonna be higher than the other. If you're really good at it and you've been doing it for a while, you should have no problem, but if you've been starting at it, you'll do highs and lows. I can tell you that because that happened to me. Get a bunch of high lows doing that, and you're trying to pinpoint one spot, it doesn't work. You kind of have to do it like in sheets, like this, like a V shape or a cross hatching shape into it. There's professionals obviously that talk about it, but that's what works for me, and I've learned great for that portion of it. At least it's worked out for the most part. So right now we are going to clear this up and smooth it out. It's also called feather out the edges. So normally I would use like an 800 grit sandpaper here, but I'm actually going to use a Scotch Brite pad. Like he has 800 grit as well, considered by them. And then kind of just slowly do it. Because I've already molded the top area, I won't have to really focus so much on trying to make sure that it's at the perfect level. We're just kind of knock it down. All right, so it feels real nice going to my finger right across because I got rid of the divot that I was talking about, but still has some highs on here. You can feel an edge going across with a new piece that was laid out. So kind of knock this down a little bit more, and let's see, try to get myself a new Scotch Brite pad here. So we're gonna move down a grit, probably go to a 1500. So I said 1500, we're actually gonna hit with 1000. So that feels pretty good, and we should be good to go on that side. We're gonna hit another edge piece on the Fender, and that should be good to rock. All right, so we had a bit of a big cut out of the paint over here on this hole, so we're gonna sand away, see if we can get this to clear up. So this is the mounting holes, once again, for that T-bar that the turn signals are on. Kind of knock some of this stuff out. There we go. Yep, perfect. So that was where the big divot was, filled it up, and when the paint hits over it, look great. Sweet. We just need to sand a little more deeper into that. And we'll do a 1500 here. Doesn't look the greatest now, but once we hit it with the primer, it will really start to blend all together. So you should be about good there. All right, this is beautiful. We got the rear pulley cleaned up, ready to rock, and now we got to do the wheel, of course. That's going to be painstaking just because of how many more edges it is to go around, and it's bigger. So once we get that, but definitely worth it. Looking over there on the bench, it is bright, it is beautiful, it's a nice mirror finish for what that is. You can go into a lot heavier sanding and get those into a perfect mirror finish. No lines, no scrapes, and you can see yourself in them. I'm not doing that. It's a pulley, and if I go to a chain, it's just a bunch of labor wasted into doing it. So good where those will be both at. And our rear fender is looking awesome for paint. Everything's sanded down. I got some good stuff coming up that we're gonna start rolling these videos out like this. Makes it a lot easier, and hopefully you guys get more variety and different stuff to work in the garage rather than just one little bit of it. And we do it together, all right? But for now, that'll about wrap for me on this one. I would greatly appreciate if you could hit that subscribe button, tap that like, press that notification, leave a comment below, and tell me what you think. And for those that are already subscribed, thank you, and as always, stay free. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.